Well, hey neighbor, it's me, Angie. Come on in. I'm so glad to be here. This is our neighborhood chat. And this is after I've had my surgery for my new pacemaker. I'm doing well. A little tired, but I'm doing well. Not tired like I was before I got my pacemaker, but just a little tired. But anyway, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad I'm here. Just want to tell a little story about my procedure and the time leading up to me having my procedure. First of all, I want to say I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. I felt every one of your prayers. It brought me peace. I don't think I could have made it through without everyone praying because of me having the panic attack when I was supposed to have the CT done. I was so afraid I was gonna panic like I did then. And secretly, James was too, but we didn't mention it to each other until after it was all over with. And he said he was afraid I was gonna do that too. But anyway, everyone who come in to take blood, to do my vitals, to put the IV in, to do the x-ray, even to Dr. Hlin, they were all so nice and so caring. Not a hiccup in the procedure as far as them coming in and me getting registered and me getting on the gurney to go before I go down to surgery, and them drawing blood and doing the IV. I mean, it was just all smooth sailing. Well, during the time I was texting several of you, and my son calls and he's like, Mom, I'm just checking on you before you go down to surgery. And he was driving. He was on his way to work. He lives in Louisiana, so there's a lot of traffic. Well, I didn't want to keep him on the phone very long. So we kept talking, and he was telling me that he loved me and that I was going to be okay and I was going to do great. And I said, okay, man, I love you, and I'll talk to you after the surgery. And he said, oh no, wait, Mom, wait. We got to pray. I've got to pray for you. Well, at that time, my eyes just welled up with tears, and I knew I could feel James wailing up, and it was so moving that my adult son was going to say a prayer for me. It humbled me, yet I was proud that James and I had raised our son to be the type of man that he is. So he says a prayer, and he said, okay, Mom, I'll talk to you afterwards, and I love you. I said, I love you too. Be careful. Well, after all that, fast forward, they come to get me to go down to have the surgery. They wheel me down there to the operating room. I go in, and there's like 3 RNs standing around this table where the surgery table doesn't look like it's about this wide. And I'm going, I'm not going to fit on that table. I'm too large. I can't fit on that table. And they just kind of smiled and said, yes, ma'am, you're going to fit. I said, well, you all can't help me. Look how small y'all are. Where are the men that's going to help me transfer over to this table? Oh, no, ma'am, we got you. We do this every day, and we lift weights. We're good. And what they did was they took this blanket-looking thing and slid it under me and slid me over to the operating table and lifted me up so my back wouldn't hurt so bad. They put a wedge under my back. And they just started to work. And me awake now, I'm awake. So the lady tells me, ma'am, you got to put your arm in this stirrup over here. Just relax your arm. And I put it in there, and she ties my arm, and I'm going, oh no, oh no. She's tying me down, and I said, oh no, Angie, don't let your mind go there. She said, honey, we're not tying you down to kidnap you. We are just trying to protect you from raising your hands and pulling on stuff during surgery. I said, yes, ma'am, I know. Well, there's another nurse on this side, and she does the same thing. She ties this arm down, and I'm thinking, why didn't they put me in a twilight or put me to sleep a little bit before doing this? You know, but I just started praying. I kept saying, Lord, just don't let me have a panic attack. And I just prayed for peace. And I said, I've got to do this. I can't freak out over this. I've got to have this procedure done. I thought that part of being panicky was over. Well, then another lady comes in. She said, I've got to clean the area, wash it down where he's going to cut you, make the incision so there won't be any germs that could cause infection. She said, look over that way. So I looked over and she said, now I have to tell you, we got to cover your whole face during this procedure. She covered my face with this blanket thing, and I thought I was going to lose it. My hands were tied down and she covered me up. I just prayed, kept my eyes closed and just prayed. I said, Lord, please let me be able to withstand this. She said, ma'am, are you okay? I said, I'm okay. I'm just ready for y'all to put me to sleep so I won't realize everything that's going on. She said, yes, ma'am, we're going to do that. We're waiting on Dr. Hlin to come in. So they just seem to take their time walking around the room, and I'm laying there trying not to panic. So lo and behold, Dr. Hlin comes in. He speaks to me, asks me how I'm doing. I said, fine. He said, okay, in about a minute, we're going to put something in your IV, and it's going to cause you to go out. And I said, okay. So it wasn't very long, and he said, well, it's in there. You're fixing to go to sleep. Start counting. I don't even remember counting. Next thing I know, I wake up with him still working on me. And I say, wait a minute, I thought you were going to put me to sleep. And the room just kind of laughs. He said, you have been asleep. And I said, what? But why am I awake right now and you're not finished with the procedure? He said, you're fine. You can stay awake through this. I'm just suturing you up. I'm just putting the stitches in. It's about 8 more minutes and we'll be finished. And I said, I don't think I've been asleep. I don't even feel like you started the procedure. Now, this is what I'm saying. Whatever they gave me, I didn't even remember being asleep, which is weird. But it had been 2 hours. So he putting all this pressure and pulling and all that, and I can feel it, and I'm going, just making all these noises, and he's like, are you okay? I said, yeah, don't mind me. It's just pulling and all that. I'll be fine. So he's finishes doing that, and then he said, okay, I'm gonna leave you. He told the girl, I'm gonna leave you. And but before he did that, he said it couldn't have went any more perfect than it did. We could use the vein over here on the left side, and it went so smooth. He said it was one of the smoothest procedure that I've ever done. It was excellent. I just want you to know that. He said, now this pacemaker is only going to last about 3 to 5 years because I have bumped your heart rate up to 88 instead of 74. So you're going to use the battery faster, but you're going to have more quality of life. And he said, but after that 3 to 5 years, you can come back and we can just put you a battery in. It's like, okay. So he leaves out of the room, and the lady's there, and she's like student teaching this other lady, telling her, we're going to add glue, and, he put stitches underneath that will dissolve, but there's going to be glue, and he wants me to put this kind of pad on it, and all this. And they started talking about me, and before Dr. Hlin left, he said, what do you like to do? Now you go home. Do you like to read? Do you like to whatever your hobby is, but you can't be lifting and pulling and can't raise your hands above your head. There's just things you're not going to be able to do, so you just need to go home and sit and take care of yourself. And I said, I have a YouTube channel. He said, oh, wow. All of them in the room were like, we've never met a real YouTuber before. And I said, yeah. And I talked about that a few minutes. So they get finished with the patching me up over here. And I said, look, they finally take off all that stuff over my face and untie my hands. And because I had been asleep for 2 hours, my back was literally killing me. But it seemed like I had never went to sleep. And I said, now I'm going to be moaning and groaning when you pick me up, but it won't be because of my shoulder. It'll be because of my back. So, of course, they move me back over on the stretcher, and I'm making all kind of noises because my back is hurting so bad. Well, they raised my head up to give me some relief. And they can start taking me back to my room. I get back to the room. James is sitting there. And I still can't believe it's been 2 hours that I have been gone, because it seemed just like that. I mean, if he hadn't been closing me up, I would have swore that he hadn't even put me to sleep. And I wish I could remember the name of the drug that he used, but it was just so powerful. The reason I woke up, I think, during the procedure is because they didn't put me under like normal surgery, like where they had to put the thing in your throat and all that, like a deep sleep. They just put me out long enough he thought he needed to do the procedure. But I get back to the room. They come in and tell me that they got to come take another x-ray to make sure that the leads are where they're supposed to be. They're still where they're supposed to be. So James and I are waiting around, and he said, I'm hungry. So he goes and gets him Chick-fil-A, and I said, well, bring me some of the little nuggets. And he does, and we're sitting there eating, and of course they come in to do the x-ray. Well, after they get through with the x-ray, I tell James, I got to go to the restroom. He's like, well, do you think you need to get up? I said, I've got to go now. So he sets me up on the side of the bed. He said, now be careful. He stands me up. I turn around, get in the wheelchair. We go to the restroom. I use the restroom, come back, and I'm sitting in the wheelchair. My nurse walks in, and he kind of turns his head and said, wow. I said, well, I had to go to the restroom. I had to get up. He said, well, you're about 45 minutes ahead of us. They were going to do some things before they asked me to get up, because they thought that I was going to be, which I was, I needed to pay attention standing up, but I wasn't weak. Actually, I was stronger. And so they said, we're going to get your paperwork together and we'll let you go home. So they get my paperwork together, and I had a few things to sign, and the nurse starts taking me out, and James goes and gets the Jeep, and we come around there, and I get in. No problem getting in the Jeep. Started on the way home. I was wide awake talking. I felt so much better. I was thanking the Lord for bringing me through the procedure and thanking Him for letting me see another day, that it wasn't my time, and I'll get to see my grandchildren grow up more years, and I'm thankful for that. But the oddest thing I thought was the fact I woke up during the procedure. And boy, when they tied my hands down and put that thing over my face, I know it was prayer that caused me not to lose it, because I wanted to panic so bad. But I just closed my eyes and started praying, Lord, don't let me panic, because I knew this was going to change my life. I knew I was going to feel better. Well, I can tell you, I have more energy. I've been retaining a lot of fluid in my lower extremities and in my abdomen. I immediately, not even an hour after I came out of surgery, James says, Angie, look at your feet. I looked down at my feet and I could see my toes. He said, oh my gosh, the fluid is dissipating. It's leaving your body. Well, my heart was working correctly. That's why I was getting rid of the fluid. I cannot express to you the fluid that I have dumped and got rid of since I've had the procedure and got home. I mean, it is just tons. I never realized how much fluid I had on my body, extra fluid. But I just want to tell you all, and I know I say this all the time, but don't take life for granted. Don't wait till you get to that point of that jumping off place and you think you're going to go, that you start realizing that things don't matter that you think that matter. And the things that do matter, you need to focus on more, like your family, your friends, the people you're around on a daily basis. Love each other through your differences. I mean, that doesn't mean hang around them if you don't like their company, but accept who they are. Respect them. Respect their space. Hug more. Hold someone's hand. Tell someone you love them. Embrace your children and your grandchildren. Smile. Laugh. Be joyful. I know sad times are going to come. I know hardship is going to come. But it depends on how we deal with that hardship that matters, that is going to cause us to grow. And when the next situation comes that we think we can't deal with, we're even stronger. But I am so happy to still be here with my YouTube community, to be able to spread love and joy and peace and kindness and unity. We need unity. Not all this division of whose channel's the best, or who has the best auction, or the best things to sell, or how many people we can get to join our channel, how big our channel is. Just be who we are, and it's going to grow. Your people are going to come to your channel. And with that being said, neighbor, like, share, become my neighbor. Click on that button to be part of my neighborhood. And I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Bye, neighbor.